Hello, everybody. Andy Jacob here with the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series. I have a great show today. You know, we sit around at DotCom Magazine and we talk about the future. We talk about technology. And whenever we get something that comes across our desk that looks very fascinating, almost like a game-changing sort of a technology, a game-changing system, we always say, wow. And recently, something from Visionect came across our desk that we thought was just super interesting. It's a product that they've released called Joan. And of course, we reached out to the Director of Strategic Alliances and Enterprise at Visionect, Mr. Martin Fishman. And Martin really is a great entrepreneur. We're going to get into his entrepreneurial journey, you know, down the road as we talk about Visionect and what's happening at Joan. But we're teasing it a little bit because what they're doing at Visionect is remarkable. You've probably seen their products all around, especially if you go to conferences, trade shows, or you go anywhere, hotels, wherever you go, you're going to see their products. Martin, it's great to have you on the show. Welcome to the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series.
Thank you very much. I'm super pleased to be here and amongst many industry pundits and people that have been participating with .com, and really excited that we can present our opportunities and how we can get back to the workplace in a more stable, cordial way than where we've been over the last 2+ years.
I love it. We all want to get back. You're going to be a big part of that because, you know, getting back is what everybody wants to do. And you take a complicated situation and turn it into the simple, which I love so much. Let's pull the lens back to start, to 30,000 feet. Tell us about Visionect, and then more particularly, tell us about Joan, the product. It's super interesting.
Excellent. Thank you. So Visionect has been a digital signage company around since 2007. Our roots and headquarters is out of Slovenia, Europe. We are a global company operating in over 90 countries. And we started in the early days with pure digital signage and focusing on transportation systems, clarity of information so people have real-time published data, and being able to do this in any location without physical construction or wiring is our claim. Doing this all with a cellular connection, Wi-Fi connection, and battery-operated displays is what our unique differentiator is in the market. And Joan is providing a solution in the workplace. So whereas Visionect was much more focused on outdoor displays and still remains focused there, Joan's focus is really how do we collaborate and communicate about meeting rooms, about workplace hoteling now. The newest trends in our industry are all about safe return to the office and really well-placed collaboration for the employees. That's the focus.
Yeah, I love it, Martin. Of course, we're going to show some slides of what Joan is all about. When people see it, you know, it's going to connect for them. It's going to resonate for them. And your technology at the company is really unparalleled when it comes to low energy consumption and really display visibility, which I love so much. So at a high level, let's talk about Joan. Where are people seeing Joan? When you start talking about it, it's going to connect with everybody watching the show that, yeah, I've seen Joan and, we have something here that we've seen many, many times prior.
Yes, exactly. Well, let's talk about it as it starts on our 13-inch display. This is a really ideal display that mounts anywhere. It's a magnetic mount. And what you're seeing is all of the rooms and status of a room within a physical location. So this is just one example of the broad portfolio of products that we're working on. But our latest, and this is really the most innovative of all the devices we've done yet, is our newest Joan 6 Pro device, okay? What's elegant about this and fantastic for deployment is it's just so easy to mount on a wall. You're talking about a magnetic mount simply with adhesive on the back of it. Here's the device. Put this right immediately on the magnet that's mounted on glass, on anywhere you don't want to run wiring, and you're up and running in minutes, not days, not involving facilities. What we're showing here is just one of the major examples of how do we bring everybody back to the office. This is our meeting, Andy. We're here live, okay? And our meeting through the calendar is just being displayed right on our Joan 6 Pro. What makes this a fantastic opportunity for ease of use is that, once again, this is going to last up to 6 months on battery life. We have the ability to immediately deploy this, and people are welcome to come back to the office in moments. The panel technology that's behind it is exciting, and it's something that many people have seen for years. You're seeing now e-paper, e-ink technology and shelf labels in pricing in real time. Why is that being used in so many areas that it's being proliferated? Because the display just lasts forever, okay? We're talking about 10 plus years, exciting in that there's no burn-in technology, there's no text remaining. This is the same panel that millions of people read in a Kindle, but we're deploying it in the workplace now. So, and then last point I want to mention is that simply touching it, planning a meeting, going right up to it, 3 ways to book a meeting: through your calendar, as is integrated; second, through a Joan app; and third, right on the display itself. I could immediately bring people together and collaborate. And that's one of the many fantastic new technologies that we're working on.
Martin, it's so interesting. I mean, I love it so much. You look at it, you say, how does that little device do all of that? I mean, it's such a great sort of panel technology you've put together. The Joan 6 Pro looks very, very interesting. Let's talk about applications. So
Yes.
Let's say there's a big company, everybody's coming back to the office, thank God, either already or soon. How do we use Joan 6 as a CEO or a C-level suite executive to make sure that people get to where they're going, go to the right place, and know what's happening?
Exactly. So that's a great setup question, Andy, and I appreciate where we can help make a difference. People nowadays are operating in a hybrid mentality, okay? Hybrid is the new buzzword of how people will re-engage with the office. A lot of people are saying, I don't need a desk anymore, or I don't need to come to the office. Well, there is really a culture at risk here, because we, and Joan is participating in helping companies to remain attentive to the culture, to deploying that mentality amongst the employees. And so how do we re-engage the employees that makes it worth their while to come in? So it's really about what Joan can do. So let's talk about a typical day in the work week. An employee has no reason to go into the office, perhaps, or they say, you know what, it's time for me to re-engage and plan a meeting. So simply just going on your calendar, booking a meeting, putting that on the calendar, and then having that room set up and available for you is one of the ease of access options that we create, okay? Now, while I'm in the office, I'm not going to hang out in the conference room all day long. So I also want to be able to go back to some form of engagement at a desk. If I've schlepped into the office and I'm now in a scenario where I want to really engage with others, I know I could have a desk. Well, Joan brings it all together, by which you can not only book the room, but the application that we've created is now allowing you to book a desk, book a huddle space, book a cubicle, a couch, a parking spot, a shower, if you want to be alone in the shower. And I would assume most people do, okay? But the idea of the Joan workplace solution is that it's more than just booking a meeting room, which is our core past. It's about how do we engage if I've decided to go into the office altogether, and then everybody knows I'm coming in and we can meet.
I love it. Of course, you've become the #1 room scheduling system in the world. It's really remarkable, the type of business that you've put together at a high level. Let's talk about sort of mental right now, because, everybody's been dispersed out. There's not been a lot of real interpersonal interactions, because people have been outside the office. What's it like knowing that your technology is not just a piece of technology, but is also going to bring people together and get them communicating face to face in a much more powerful way?
It's not just about selling products. It's really about engaging people and how one can create a culture, a mentality, and equipping them with the tools that brings on success. So when I talk to clients all over the world, and we're involved in enterprise, the small to medium business, they're looking for a philosophical and correct approach to how one could get really reestablished. Because as we know, there's a lot of people saying, I don't need to come to the office. I don't want to come into the office. And so management is looking for a way to create and suggest a way to recollaborate and do that. So that nothing could be more proud. It's one thing to sell a product, but how can we get re-engagement, provide a culture, provide a way in which the company's atmosphere is then now re-engaging and motivating staffs amongst the world, and management comes back time and time again and says, you know what? Joan is really helping us to make a difference. It's not just about a display or a software application. It's about now, how can we as a company foster and future-proof ourselves so that we may remain attentive to our customer needs. So Joan is really a catalyst that helps bring that all together in terms of how agile we are to create a good work environment for executives all over the world.
Yeah, it's so powerful. I like that answer so much, Martin. You know, we think about it. We think about the application in an office. We think about the application of the Joan 6 Pro going into office buildings or areas where people kind of gather for their meetings. What other applications are there? I would imagine conference centers and hotels, and everybody else wants to get a hold of one of these Joan 6 Pros or a number of them for other rooms.
Yes, absolutely. Let's just talk about a typical cycle. So whether it's an office or a large enterprise or a conference center, meeting and greeting is the first foremost strategy for every business today. Let's look at an airport, for example. What's the typical norm that a passenger or someone going on a flight would look at? They go into the terminal, they immediately look at, where's my gate? Where's my destination? Joan is equally providing that same kind of vantage point by its devices and how we can be deployed in any operations. So conference room and scheduling and wayfinding now is the newest approach to how people are engaging in all kinds of locations. So the Joan devices, whether there are 6-inch or 13-inch or 32-inch displays that are placed and played anywhere, can create that kind of messaging and signage so that all kinds of facilities are able to deploy that real-time messaging. So beyond conference rooms, it's all about digital signage and messaging. Our displays can provide real-time information. There's a meeting, there's a fire drill, there's an event happening. Please be aware of a very important message that we want to broadcast that, yes, you can do that through your mobile phones. You can do that on the deployment of our displays anywhere. And that's what makes this kind of a solution so elegant for every kind of venue you could be talking about, whether it's a small business, a large conference center, hotels, and any area that you want to be able to deploy with immediacy.
I love it. I would imagine so many universities and schools and places like that of higher education would want these everywhere for so many different reasons. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely. It's fantastic. And I got to tell you, in the last 3 months, okay, now that even universities and schools are bringing people back and wanting to engage them, the ability to navigate what is real estate. Okay, so real estate, as we know, is a very dynamic scenario right now. It's not being used the same way it used to be used, whether it's universities or classrooms in school districts. So how can one immediately go into any hallway or a monitor or see where and how they're going to go to their classrooms or their university room, or they're going to be meeting with their guidance counselor? This is all about clarity, communication, collaboration, and not being compromised by the meetings and venues you're in. What could be worse than somebody opening a door and saying, how long are you going to be here? How much more time are you going to have this room? Well, No need for any of that interruption anymore. It's all right there on your display, on your device, and wherever that kind of facility is that we're talking about deploying it, you've got the just-in-time, real-time messaging for a focus. Everybody wants to be cared for and attended to in a singular way. Well, we're providing that level of engagement.
Wow, I love it so much. And as you're talking, I'm thinking, my wife calls me Mr. Safety. Everybody that knows me, I carry an extra flashlight and I carry cables in my car. I always, have a hat to protect my face. I would think that the Joan 6 Pro also can offer some safety opportunities by messaging at the right time for situations throughout a school or a conference center or a hotel, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's so important to be able to have alternative ways in which information can be displayed. And yes, we've gotten used to a society of watches and mobile phones, but people are looking for other ways to see information and clarity. So whether it's a institution, a medical facility, we've got doctors' offices now communicating exactly what level of meeting is taking place and also safety guidelines. Please do not enter the premises until you have done the following. And every day in each local area, we're able to provide the kind of dynamic information that you can modify and change according to local laws and jurisdictions. So all of that safety element is built into our way to do not just the room display booking, but messaging and communication and clarity. Right behind me here, I have an example of, here's a message showing our calendar, but it also shows where's the bathrooms, where do I go? So although people want to engage with each other, we don't want to have people face-to-face necessarily asking for simple questions to be answered. So guidance, wayfinding, navigation, that's all the keys to success here. Last point I want to mention, even in our home offices nowadays, Joan is being used. So we've had years now that our family has been around us as we've continued to operate. I'm able to place my Joan device right on my library, and my family knows just when they can interrupt me. Okay. That level of clarity or messaging I could send to them right there on my closed door is a wonderful way in which we can all get along better. Okay. Think about GPS and what GPS provided to our family dynamic. Husbands and wives used to argue about destinations, locations, where can I find this? Well, Joan is equally solving that kind of scenario like GPS did for navigation, we're doing for collaboration and enjoyment with one another.
I love it. I think there's going to be a lot of wives out there that are going to buy the Joan so they can remind their husbands to listen to them more closely. I love it so much. One thing you've done at the company, which is just remarkable, is you've got this very complex technology. I mean, it's been built to the highest standards. Everybody loves it. I mean, it lasts a long time. It's sustainable. It's green. It's amazing on the back end. But on the front end, you've been able to make it so simple. What's that philosophy of the company of taking the complex and making it simple for your customers?
The terminology, place and play. Okay, so that's the immediacy of the solution we're delivering. From the moment you get the product and unpack it from the box to how it's deployed, and utilizing the Joan configurator app on your mobile phone to connect that IoT device to your network is really the beginning of how you engage the device and the simplicity of being able to bring it on right away with no time at all. So that level of simplicity, place and play, and then being able to just connect your calendar to it and then go into our portal, because Joan is one neck to choke. Okay. So if you've got a problem, Joan does it all. We're the hardware solution. We're integrating with the calendar. We've developed all of the software to integrate our entire solution of workplace devices and software. And so you've got one company that's built it all and has been doing it since 2007.
Yeah, it's remarkable. And one thing, when anybody looks at your company at Visionect and you look at the Joan 6 Pro and all the evolution of your product, is that you have a great team at the company. And I want to talk about that a little bit. How important is the team to the success of what you're doing on a global scale internationally with your phenomenal technology?
Absolutely. So culture is everything. The team that stands behind us is really what is the glue and the fabric of the company. When I look at good teams and you look at not just having engineers, but being able to have marketing people, support people, the entire organization comes together with each and every point of contact that we have at our sources of components and supply chain, all the way down to the end customer and our channel partners. So Joan is a company that is not only the manufacturer that's supplying all the technology, but working closely with our channel partners because they're working closely with the end customer. We can't do it all. And it takes really a company and a philosophy that says, if you don't have good partnerships, you've got really a very small fragment of what you could become. So our philosophy and company is really based on partnerships, excellence in future engagements, making sure that we've got a long-term sustainable solution. And that also is a part of why our business is made much easier, because we're selling products that are not only green, but sustainable for the future. Our products last. There's a lot of technologies that are disposable after a year or two, and you've got to get rid of them. There's a lot of technologies that are having long-term retention problems. Joan and our panel technology even is designed around a long-term nature. So this is the basis of really being able to protect not only our core business, but having really a philosophy of everybody's engaged from the beginning to the end point and ongoing into perpetuity.
Yeah, it's so interesting. And for the entrepreneurs watching the show, rewind what Martin just said. I mean, he really gave you what I would call a Stanford or a Harvard or a Michigan MBA right there about how to approach business, how to approach providing the best in class to your clients. Really remarkable. Now, Martin,
yes,
you mentioned corporate culture.
Yes.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because there's a lot of experts that say corporate culture starts at the top. How do you get this idea of taking such great care of your customers in a simplistic way through a very, very high-end technology to the entire team? How does your team raise itself up every day to give the best they can every single day?
Yeah, excellent question, Andy. And I'm really proud to be able to say Joan exemplifies a lot of those core areas that make for both a top-down and bottom-up approach to running a business, okay? And I think I've worked with the industry and I've been in the computer industry. I don't want to tell you how old I am, but I'm not a spring chicken, okay? And I've seen a lot of companies because I've worked with them all around the world. But what I love about Joan, the Visionect company, is that top down and bottom up, people are listening. There's weekly, daily, monthly collaborations. We are communicating internationally to all of our staffs through video, through other means. There is a constant communication daily. We're slacking each other. We're communicating right on the spot in those moments of time where there needs to be attention and addressing to prioritize and escalate. And that level of engagement, we don't want to have meeting-itis, but we also want to make sure that we're spending enough time to share what's going on, how do we solve our problems, how do we have immediacy behind our customers' issues, because attentiveness to that is everything. And so I think bringing it all together with a top-down and bottom-up approach and listening. It's nice to work with management that really genuinely prides itself on hearing the information from the field and taking that up and taking action on it.
I love it. Wow, that's so great. I mean, that almost encompasses a new book from Martin Fishman. I mean, it's fantastic. Now, before I let you go, and again, thank you for cutting out some time today. I mean, this is a phenomenal product, the Joan 6. Everybody's talking about this panel technology. It's remarkable. Let's talk about entrepreneurship, because we have younger entrepreneurs watching the show, and you have this great experience, this great background. We're not going to talk how many years you've been in it, but you've been in it, a long time. You've seen a lot of things in your career, and of course have attained such great success and remarkable entrepreneurial journey you've had, Martin. For the younger entrepreneurs watching the show, maybe they're having a tough time. Maybe they're having a roadblock. Maybe they're hitting a pothole in the road. maybe they freeze. Maybe they don't know what to do. Maybe you could share some advice based on your wisdom to the younger entrepreneurs watching the show about how to get through those tough times.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's more than just being tenacious. Okay. It's about having a vision. It's about documenting that vision and working your plan, bringing together teammates, shareholders, stakeholders, people that are aligned to where and how you're thinking about your mission, and being able to do that exercise in the beginning, daily, weekly, and then beginning to keep elongated a little bit. But from day one, it's about the passion and the vision that you have for your products or services or technology, and then bringing that together and utilizing your bench of resources, friends, family, investors, to bring that all together and continue to exercise running this through them and continuing to have their motivation and engagement with you. If someone isn't really on your team, it's also important to know how to trade them out. So just like professional sports team, we want to have loyalty, but loyalty is only good to a certain point. And then you've got to really make sure that your bench, your resources, everybody that's around you is really working the plan with you. But sharing and having a participative management team and collaborators is really core to its success.
That is such powerful advice. I mean, there's so much to learn just in that little nugget right there. Thank you so much, Martin. I mean, this has been fantastic. I want to bring you back on the show. Besides the Joan 6, you have other technologies that are very interesting. You have more things on tap that I know you can't even talk about right now. So as we start releasing new items and new technologies, I want to bring you back because it's very exciting what you've got going at Visionect. Martin, thank you so much for coming on the show today and bringing us inside not only what you're doing with the technology and simplifying this future of signage, I'm going to call it, but also talking about entrepreneurship and the way in which your team works from the top and to the bottom and brings it all together in a way that's very meaningful for your clients. This has been awesome, Martin. Thanks so much for coming on the .com Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today.
Thank you so much for having us, and I look forward to future engagements, Andy. Take care.